Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Warframe Ninja podcast. I'm your host, British Bob, and today I have with me River.
Hello.
And Awesome.
Hello, hello.
So, let's get started.
Wake up, Tenno!
Just before we start, quick shout out to A and Bunny for the DevStream overview. There will be a link in the forum post in the YouTube description. It's a really nice summary of the DevStream. And also, just a quick advert for Angels of Death, the clan we're all part of. You can find us on the Warframe forums or at our site, claniod.net. So, first thing on the agenda, we're going to go into the DevStream. And we've got double resource weekend and lots of reactors.
How about lots and lots of reactors? We got 3 of them. A couple blueprints off the alerts, but it's definitely more than we usually get. So I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, almost makes you think they're going to be releasing a lot of stuff really quickly, because it's a lot of reactors to throw out at once.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that's they're gearing us up for a lot of Warframes to be released. Which, I mean, we have a lot of Warframes that we're seeing in the pipeline, so maybe they're gonna hit us all with them and U18. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got a lot in the pipeline, 3 that we've seen, that we'll probably get onto a bit later. But you've been abusing the double resource weekend?
As always.
Yeah, I have. Friday and Saturday, the Friday night I spent pretty much the entire night in a CAD on Iris, doing that dark sector defense and getting some nanospores. I go through nanospores like crazy because I use energy drops and heal restores. So it's nice to have this little resource weekend to let me bolster up my stock.
Mm-hmm. It was Neurodes for me.
Yeah,
Just Neurodes all weekend.
I didn't get very many. I mean, I got a couple Neurodes at the at the Akkad place, node, whatever, but it wasn't like my main goal. I probably ended up walking away with about a 75 Neurodes, which isn't too bad. And then Saturday night I actually spent that time doing Ophelia on Uranus and with Stefano and just trying to get polymer bundles because like I said, the energy drops and the health restores, they go through polymer bundles and nanospores like crazy. So definitely I'm stocked up and I'm ready to continue building those for quite some time.
So, I'm looking forward to what we can use all those resources with, which will be the nice new Nexus app coming out soon.
Finally!
Yeah, they said it's going into cert next week, so sometime next week we should see it, which is great. I've been looking forward to that. I don't really have very many things building anymore. I don't have anything left to build, but being able to pull formas out while I'm at work will be nice, and put new formas in. Because I constantly 24 hours. There's always a form of building in my foundry.
Yeah. Next thing to add to that, I guess, because they're putting a lot of stuff in there. One thing I eventually would like to see added would be some sort of trading. So, because it does link to your account. So if it would be possible to be able to trade items, at least between like clan members, would be sweet through the phone.
They didn't say anything about being able to do that. I think it's more of like all the shit that you can do on your Lisette.
Well, it logs in. Yeah, it logs into your account, so it has all your stuff there. So
right. I mean, that would be nice if you could do that because I could be at work on my phone and buying and selling shit. That would be really cool.
That sounds like it could be quite a bit of a rework, though. Depends on the back end and whether the trading system's part of the dojo or whether it's just an individual thing that happens to be in the dojo.
Well, did they say that they're gonna have the ability to chat in the app? Can you use like your trading chat or clan chat?
Don't think so. I don't recall them stating that you could or couldn't. It was just basically the the main hubs in your Lisette that you could do for your landing craft, I guess now.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, like you said, it's nice for things like formers or field drones, detonite injectors, and the other ones. That you've always got building for weapons and things. So.
Right.
Those Warframe parts that take like 3 days to finish crafting.
Yeah, no more waiting to get out of work to come home and take stuff out of the foundry. So, like I said, it'll be really nice. It'll be convenient. So, I know that I'll definitely be using it. But
maybe we can use it on the new frame that's coming out. That's currently being named.
I kind of like the name Archer though. I don't know.
It would be fitting name if that's what that's what it was. What did they say? But I mean, I don't remember really seeing anything in there that they're coming out with a name for him or anything. What did they mention?
I don't think they've mentioned names yet. It's just they've stated that they're working on a final name for it.
Oh, okay.
It's also one of those Warframes that I kind of purposely haven't looked a lot into. I've heard stuff about it, but I haven't looked into it because it seems really interesting and I might really, really like it. So I kind of wanted it to be a surprise. So I haven't even seen what she looks like.
You haven't seen the whatchamacallit, the artist rendition or whatever?
I've been so into Wukong and the new Niza frame that I've kind of skipped over Archer a little bit, but it'll be cool to have it as a surprise what it would look like.
Yeah, there's a couple things in the on the forums about what her abilities are going to be. It's I don't know. There's something on there saying that her second ability is it's going to have something like you press the ability and it's going to open up a menu and you'll be able to pick from like 4 different arrows. And each one of those arrows is going to do 4 different things. Like one is going to nullify enemies. I don't know what they are, and I don't want to.
It's like a radio. Yeah, it's like a radio menu.
Yeah, but that's basically that power, or that that power is going to open up that menu. You're going to be able to pick from that menu, and then whatever your next shot is will be using that arrow or something. I don't know the details, but
I think also Steve was saying that she's taking more of a stealth side approach, not quite Loki or Ash, but more on the kind of preferred stealthy type of playstyle.
Yeah. You've got your Loki and your Ash style stealth, and then you've got your Banshee style stealth.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to be more Banshee style stealth.
Yeah.
Than
which I would like.
Stealth.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been one for invisibility in this game. I hardly ever pick up my Loki, even for like spy missions. I always grab like Limbo or Banshee. Just seems to work better, in my opinion, than just straight invisibility.
Yeah, I like the invisibility style. I like stealth gameplay just as a whole. So, as you guys know, Loki is my #1 use framed. But I don't know. I definitely am looking forward to the Archer frame and see what she has to offer. And I'm definitely gonna give her a twirl.
Yeah.
But is she coming out in update 18?
I would be surprised if she didn't, honestly. They were saying that she had some things that were like her abilities and everything worked, but like they were having issues with the model, I think. So it shouldn't be too long. I would say if it wasn't 18, I would say like 18.2 maybe.
Well, I know that during the dev stream, that looked like they cut the dev stream off early, and they said that the update 18 should be released before the end of November, but it seemed like they were in that, busy mode where they're, running around and trying to get all the loose ends tied up. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Wednesday they dropped update 18. It'd be a nice surprise, but I don't know, that's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was their plan, just by how anxious they seemed in the dev stream.
Well, don't forget, there's only 2 weeks left of November, so they haven't got that long.
So it's this week or next week. That's it.
Right? Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that November's almost over already. That's crazy. Time's flying by.
Also, another thing to come before the end of November, the Rhino skin.
Yeah, was it Temple Guardian or
Temple Guardian? Yeah,
the deluxe skin.
which hopefully comes with the Rhino rework. Hopefully.
I believe it should do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, man. People are getting so excited about that skin, like it's like the greatest thing everybody's ever seen. I mean,
I think it's
don't
just
get me wrong. I think it looks cool, but I mean, I don't use Rhino very often.
Yeah.
I don't even see Rhino. You know, if I do any public matches, it's rare that I haven't run into Rhino.
I think it's that completion thing with the same thing like with Saren. It's that kind of thing that ties together the whole rework. It's a brand new frame, pretty much.
Well,
That's what it feels like, I guess.
what was one of the first frames you unlocked when you started playing? I'm pretty sure it would have been Rhino, because you get him on Jupiter, and
No,
I know
Venus.
for a lot of... I think our clan's quite hardcore in the fact that we run a lot of high-level stuff all the time, which is not particularly what Rhino's useful for, but for pubbies, it's an incredibly useful frame to just run around with and just shoot stuff with.
Yeah, I actually went and picked him up after not playing him for months and months the other day when the Mios came out, just to see how he worked with the Mios. And yeah, he's squishy, kind of, for the stuff that I was doing, but I mean, he's still a really good melee frame. He just needs more tankiness. Like, he's so damn squishy.
I'm not saying that he's a bad frame. I'm not saying that I dislike him. I'm just saying that everybody's getting so excited about this skin for a frame that I barely ever see anywhere, which is kind of unusual. You know, I mean, like I guess I know we're going to talk about the Saren deluxe skin later, but I mean, there was no hype around that at all, and you know, that skin looks freaking amazing. It changes Saren's complete appearance, you know, and
well, I think it also came with the same kind of thing where with the rework, the Saren rework, it was kind of that split thing where a lot of people really were already ahead of time knew that they were going to like the rework, and then there was a vast majority of people that kind of knew that they weren't really going to like it. So it was kind of that weird sitting spot where Rhino D's, I don't want to say pretty much came out and say, but they pretty much came out and said that there was just going to be a straight all around buff on Rhino.
So everybody's in agreement that Rhino needs a rework, where a lot of the hardcore Saren players were saying don't touch her, and then so I guess that makes sense, but
it's that difference in attitude, isn't it? There was apprehension around the Saren rework, because if they got it wrong, it would have ruined her. We will come on to this a bit later. But with the Rhino rework, he's very much a one-trick pony almost, with Iron Skin. You can sort of build him for Stomp, and you can sort of build him for other stuff, but it's just not as good.
Yeah, and he definitely needs a rework. We can all agree with that.
He suffered from power creep, is what's happened. So
yeah. I just not to push it further, but there's other frames that have been hit worse with power creep. That
Oberon.
Really. I would love to see it. I would love to see Oberon be good again.
Volt as well.
Jeff was actually talking about wanting to redo Volt, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great frame, and his number 4 sucks. His other 3 abilities, they're really good, and it's
he's my dedicated void capture frame, and he's not taken out anywhere else but that.
He's my Triton farmer, my gold core farmer. I take him to Triton, and that's all I use him for.
See, I quite like his number 4 ability, but I like his 4th ability with the augment that gives you overshields. And then I run him with maxed ranged and efficiency, so you just press number 1 and zap everything in the room. It's crowd control CC.
Yeah, but it's it's an ability that's great and all. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not an ultimate. It doesn't need to be an ultimate. That needs to be pushed down to number 2 or something, and they need to, I don't know, maybe take out his number 1 and replace that. Push everything down 1 and just get rid of his number 1. I don't know. A lot of people disagree with me on that one. But
I'd personally say get rid of the shield since it's broken anyway. Doesn't work.
I use the shield for gold core farming. I throw my shields around the.
It's good, yeah. It's good for defense, but currently with any of the tests that I've personally done with it, it doesn't give you, it's not giving me the electric proc, it's not giving me the extra range on anything, it's not giving me the damage buff, it's literally just a shield right now. Like the entire like offensive side of it is completely gone right now.
Right, but the fact that he's still, I mean, it's
still a shield.
Come on,
Yeah,
as a defense ability, that it's great, you know.
Mhm.
So,
it'd be sweet if you had an augment that made it a dome, like a smaller dome,
yeah, kind of like Frost Globe or something.
but like a personal globe.
Yeah, like if range affected the size somehow, that would be really neat. You know, that's something that I always thought that they should do with Atlas's wall. You just if you put a lot of range on them, it should make that wall bigger. Because you know, although it's I don't know. I guess we're kind of
too small.
off topic. Yeah, we're getting off topic, but that wall ability is pretty lame.
Can't even block off a doorway.
Speaking of abilities, why don't we get back to the dev stream and they showed off that China frame. I don't. What's his name? Nazar, the one with the hula hoop.
Nisa? I don't remember the exact pronunciation.
I think they called it Nisa, but I want to hear a Chinese person say it before I say what it's called. It's Nezha.
Yeah, well, whatever his name was, I think that aesthetically, he kind of looks like Trinity Prime. I don't know. He or she. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. I couldn't tell.
It's a he.
All right. Well, he looked pretty cool. There's some similarities to Trinity Prime. I'm not saying that he looks exactly, but and those abilities.
It's all the cloth, and then the big hula hoop reminds me of the Aura helmet.
Yeah.
I did like the look of that frame because other than Ember, I don't think there's any other sort of anything to do with fire frame.
Yeah.
And it seems to do fire really well.
And yeah, she seems like I'm gonna do that a lot. He seems like a kind of like a jack of all trades type of frame, because you got the fire, or is it Firewalker?
Yeah, Firewalker.
Yeah. You get the hoop that gives you the damage reduction, which they explained it kind of similar to Iron Skin, where it's up until it takes the damage to deplete it all the way, and then it leaves a trail of fire behind you, which reminds me of Ember. But it also gives you a speed change, which is from Volt.
Right.
Wasn't that two abilities?
I think that was
Firewalk, which was the speed and the fire on the floor, and then you had the second ability, which was
the ring.
It was either second or third. It was the ring, yeah.
Right. Well, then I think his third ability was the hoop, where you throw it and then you could teleport.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah, it's like a glaive, but you could teleport. And then the fourth ability, which is my personal favorite, is the spears.
Those were neat, man. Those were really cool. Like, and I mean, as a crowd control thing, it was really cool. I mean, I would expect if you impale anything, it's gonna die. But it seemed like I don't know what level mission Rebecca was playing in when she was showing it off, but
I guess Saturn.
It was pretty low missions, and it wasn't killing anything. But as crowd control is pretty cool that they just kind of sit there. It's kind of like Hydroid's tentacles, but they're spears instead of tentacles.
And the fact that you can actually shoot them when they get speared.
Yeah, they're just kind of stuck there in place. And
reminded me a lot of the Sleep, the rest from Equinox, but in a full AoE range and not point.
Yeah, I was completely impressed by the frame altogether, and I'm really excited to play that frame because I think that he will be a lot of fun.
I want the animation stance. The idle animation.
I'm just gonna...
Where he just stands on the one leg, and yeah, that was kind of cool looking.
I think I'm just going to agree with both of you completely. I really like the look of the frame, and I really like the look of the abilities. I think, depending on whether you want to go strength or range, it's going to become incredibly versatile, which I like.
Duration. If that fourth ability is duration based, then yeah, range duration for the win. Total CC frame. But have we talked about?
Great addition to the Warframe family.
Have we talked a lot about Wukong before? I know they showed him off in a previous dev stream when they showed off Atlas, but
yeah, we touched on him when after they had that little video of him and her showing him off a little bit. We saw like his mist. And we talked about that.
Yeah, since
he keeps popping up because he keeps not coming out.
Well,
since the last time he's been shown off, the Chinese like promo video for him has come out. Have you guys seen that yet?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, I gotta show you it afterwards then. But his fourth ability, which they showed in the dev stream when they first showed him off, where he pulls out his staff and he slams it on the ground, it gets bigger and bigger. Apparently, I can only assume it's like a toggled ability, similar to Hysteria or Exalted Blade, where he pulls out his staff, and then I guess the more combos and the more times you hit an enemy, the longer the staff gets. It's energy staff basically off each side. It gets bigger, and then when you slam it down, the size of the staff and diameter gets bigger, and you could still use it at that size as a normal staff. So you can grow and multiply its damage and reach by doing the combos, and then just beat the crap out of people with it. So it looks like you're hitting.
Has it been released in China?
I don't know.
I think they said that he was coming out either just before or just after update 18 on the China server.
Alright, because I know that they said something, they have like a 30-day exclusive deal where when they release them in China, it has to be exclusive for 30 days. So when it gets released in China, it'll at a minimum be 30 days before we see it. So I don't think we'll be seeing him in update 18.
Which is weird because he's been around for a long time now, and it's just like, it's like, here's this cool frame, you're not going to get it for 3 months.
Well, that's what they did with the Nikandi,
Yeah.
Chucks, and
the Mios. The Mios was like a year and a half.
Yeah, that was player created. So, and that it was a long time. They kind of showed that off a while ago, and they kept teasing us with it, and now it's finally here.
So, how do you guys like the Mios?
For being the third place winner of that melee design competition, it's, I think, by far the best melee weapon to come out
in the game.
No, the best out of the three for that competition, because the other was the Sylvan Aegis won first place, the Cronin won second, and the Mios won third. And
our dojo is still researching it, so
it just finished.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How does it stack up then against other melee weapons? Is it top tier?
I don't currently have the stance because I haven't been lucky enough to get the drop even after countless Dracos and other Grineer runs to get it to drop from Scorpions. But even without the stance, I would say right now with the build that I currently have on it, I'm still missing one mod because I need the stance to have the capacity. But it's a very, very good melee.
I think if it's not top tier, it's just under top tier because you have ridiculous range on it. It is a very well ranged weapon. It has a 30% crit chance, 25% status chance.
I think it's 15% crit.
Is it 15 crit? I thought it was higher than that, but
it is 15% crit, 2 times multiplier, 25% status, 36/20 puncture, 24 impact. So currently, right now, I got 245 slash and 211 viral, 15% crit chance, and 55 status. With the primed reach, when you have it equipped and you do the charge attack where you spin the whip and you throw it directly out, the thing has like 18-20 meters of range, and if it doesn't kill the enemy and you keep holding E, you can actually hook the enemy and pull him back into your blade, which then you hit them while they're coming toward you with the actual bone blade. So so far I've been putting it on my Chroma with a Vex armor build, and it's just nuts. Like, it's hilariously fun to use, and it's very good. In terms of crit damage, the whip with the charge attack, I've seen hit 10,000, 14,000 damage. Usually it's about 4,000 to 6,000, but it does get up there if you do land it on the head.
So I think it's very good as a crowd control weapon as well as a damage weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And you can throw a Berserker on there without any crit chance mods, and it'll proc quite happily.
Yeah. So 1.08 attack speed. I've been switching back and forth between Berserker and Fury depending on how I use it. If I'm going to be throwing the whip out more often as the charge attack, I'll throw Fury on there just because it gets that first couple whips out faster until it does crit. But it gets that animation done quicker. And then if I want to run full like Valkyrie mode with it, I'll throw Berserker on there to get the attack speed super fast.
Because that thrown out attack is what, the first charge attack we've had back.
Well, according
Apart
to
from the glaive.
yeah, and the Redeemer, but according to Jeff, the holster charge attack wasn't supposed to be in the game until they implemented charge attacks in. They snuck it past them. Because if you have it holstered and you hold E, he draws the blade back and then does a thrust and then a cross strike with it, which basically hits the enemy 3 times. And it's very, very powerful as well. So it technically has 2 charge attacks with it.
So it's the first weapon with the revamped charge attacks.
Yeah, with the new charge attack system. And even Jeff was saying that the way that the Neos is performing right now isn't a good example of how the charge attacks are. So it has a part of what the charge attacks are doing, but you can't.
It's broken.
Yeah, it's fractured. It's not working properly. Like you can't combo it into your stance combos and everything else like we will be able to. It's just kind of, you can use it like the glaive or the Redeemer and it's there, but you can't chain it like you're supposed to be able to yet.
Is the stance I know it's like something Snapdragon?
Defiled Snapdragon, yes.
Is that the only available stance for it, or can you use whip stance on it?
That's the only available stance for it.
Oh, okay.
Because it has to combine both the sword and the whip combinations with it. Because even without the stance, if you just keep hitting E over and over again, or your melee button, it's actually still combining the sword and the whip together. So if you do like a spin attack, it uses the whip as its range. So it has a very, very wide spin attack range. And if you do like the slide attacks and wall attack stuff, it's using the sword. And even just the different combos, it switches back and forth between the whip and the sword being used.
Yeah, I heard that the range on the whip portion, if you use like a primed range or the reach mod, it's a lot like the Scoliac. It's got that distance.
Very similar to the Scoliac range, yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to. I got it building in the foundry right now.
To give an example, because meters is hard to determine in the game, we were screwing around with it in the dojo, and I'm standing on one opposite wall, like on the energy drop, and we had one other person on the other energy drop. And with the charge attack, you can pretty much hit them with a max prime breach across the entire dojo width for the dueling room.
The dueling room, not the entire dojo.
Yeah, the actual dueling arena.
Right. Yeah, that's about the same distance as the Scoliac. So.
And it's a 100% slash proc with the whip, and it is a 100% stagger. So if you're looking to win some really easy duels, grab the Neos. Basically, the only bad thing is you can't aim down or up with the charge attack with the whip. Like if they're up on the wall, or even like in normal missions, if they're up the hill or upstairs, if they're like 2 or 3 meters higher than you are, it'll miss them a lot because it goes straight forward and not down.
Yeah, that's all melee weapons though. Like you know how like the shield disruptors, those in the Orican, in the Void, those things are with melee. They're so much trouble to melee because they're always just their hitbox is just right outside the melee.
I wish you had some sort of elevation control, because you do throw it like Scorpion Mortal Kombat style. It's not like a down and you kind of throw it outwards.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely something that the devs need to work on. I don't think that they're looking at it necessarily. I don't know why they haven't noticed the hitbox for the melee has no height on it.
Also tired of in the middle of a combo and you walk off an edge or stairs, and then you're just doing your combo walking in the air because you never drop down. You're just at the same level.
Yeah.
Because of that same issue. It's trying to hit something that's lower than you, but you don't drop down to its elevation, so you're standing above them trying to hit them.
Right. Yeah, they got some work to do on that, I guess. But that Snapdragon, it doesn't have a very high drop rate, does it?
We've had a couple guys in our clan get it pretty easily. I think Choso has gotten it 3
times. Yeah,
3 times.
3 times, and he sold all 3 of them.
Yeah, and I spent all weekend running Lua where scorpions spawn, and I'm currently doing my 100 Forma Kubro, so I've done, God, I don't know how many Dracos so far on that, and I still haven't gotten it to drop. Not to mention farming all day on Draco for the stance the day the Meos came out, and I still haven't gotten it.
That might just be a matter of luck. I
Yeah.
mean, he said that he did 50 Dracos and he got 3 of them, so
I've definitely done more than that. So yeah, it's just RNG for the win again.
So yeah, I guess currently it's going for about 175 on the market. I don't know if that's a lot or if that's not very much, but that's
I've seen
what's pretty much been advertised on the market on the trading channel.
I've seen it as low as 80 and as high as like 250. So it's all over the place right now, apparently.
Yeah. People don't know what it's worth because they don't really know, what the drop rates are yet. So, well, it'll level out in a week, and we'll definitely see what it's worth at that point. But I guess since we're talking about mods, we might as well move on to what they were talking about on DevStream about Equinox and Atlas augments. Did you guys check that out? Did you guys read those?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I really
I'm
like
looking forward
that.
to the Equinox ones.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I really want the Rest and Rage augment. Kind of has the same effect as what is it? The sonar.
Killing an enemy afflicted with Rest Rage will spread the effect to nearby enemies. So kind of like Saren.
Resonance. Spores and Resonance, the augment for Banshee's sonar, does that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not a big player of. I leveled Equinox up to 30, and then I shelved her. So, I've been waiting for augments. I have maxed out rep. I'm just waiting for them to come out so I can either trade for them or get them when they do come out.
I played her a lot when she came out, and I think the issue I had is her heal and damage abilities were. I'm trying to think of the word now. They were burst. They were all at once. Mm-hmm. There was no long-term healing from Mend and Maim. There was no, sort of long-term damage. You got those slash procs, but the kills you got with inside added up to a total, which you then put out at a single time. And I think these add a bit more consistent utility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually probably the one I'm most excited for is the Metamorphosis augment. The Equinox's other half temporarily breaks free and attacks enemies with the weapon equipped when the ability was cast, and it acts like a specter. So every time you switch sides, the side that you switched from gets left behind as a specter for a short amount of time, so it can deal damage with you.
So it's kind of have like a little ghost pet for a short period of time.
Yeah. And that would be a really cool thing to mess around with.
That seems like something that's more novel than it is useful.
Yeah, I mean it is a specter after all, but
yeah, like that would be cool to see. But as far as usefulness,
it depends on
the AI and what it's able to do. Like if you look at Necros's Shadows of the Dead, or even if a better example would be Atlas's Rock or Rumbler guys, or whatever they're called. The AI in those guys are really stupid. Like their pathing is really messed up, and they don't, they're just dumb. So I think that they need to work on the AI a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And that was
are kind of dumb.
And that was one thing that they did say that they were working on was pathing. They mentioned it for Kubros, but I assume pathing goes for everything else as well if that has pathing.
Yeah, I'd assume they'd take a look at the entirety, huh?
Yeah, so, I mean, in AOD, I guess, whoever's talked about this, I guess more people are more fond of Equinox because they're looking forward to those augments, but I don't know, I guess Atlas is getting the short end of this stick here. I don't think that any of his augments are... they're nice little bonuses.
The Petrify augment I could see being pretty useful, kind of like as a farming tool. Petrified are also scanned in the codex and will drop additional loot if killed while stone. So if you had a bunch of range on it in duration.
I can see a Atlas and a Chroma just hogging a doorway.
Yeah.
you would get like an Atlas, a Hydroid, and a Necros in a group.
Mhm.
That would be that'd be definitely the farming bunch. You get one one killing frame, and the rest Necros, Desecrate, and Equinox or Atlas turning stuff to stone
Mhm.
for the
I,
additional
I,
loot, and Hydroid putting them in its pilfering swarm.
Yeah. You were
I
talking
do
about
quite
the.
like. Sorry, I do quite like the landslide one as well, which leaves a path that petrifies enemies as they walk over it.
Mhm.
Well, I wonder if you equipped the landslide augment as well as the petrify augment. If the landslide is petrifying them, then I wonder if you have both augments on at the same time,
Oh yeah.
would it scan it and would it drop additional loot as well?
So yeah, you were talking about the rumblers, and the augment for that spawns one instead of two, but it has more health, and it automatically taunts nearby enemies and focuses on crowd control instead of damage. Depending on how that works, that could be very, very good, or very, very bad.
That would be very good. I mean, I think that's what they should have been used for in the
In the
beginning.
first,
They should
I'm gonna
they
be
should be taunting.
I'm gonna be disappointed if that one golem isn't twice as big as the other ones, though. If you're sacrificing another giant golem for one, it better be the size of both of them combined.
Yeah, but then it can't fit through doorways. Think about running from room to room in the void.
Yeah.
They got some small archways in
Yeah.
the void.
But it's gonna be also a lot slower, so who knows how
Yeah.
mobile it's gonna be. It would probably be for like defenses. Like ODD would probably be very good.
Right. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. I don't see anything. I haven't seen any other suggestions that tops out these guys, these possible augments. So I'd be happy with these. But then again, I'm not a big player of Equinox, and I like Atlas, and I would definitely use these augments if I could. So
Another thing, very, very interested in, because hooray for tougher content, the sorties. The daily tactical alerts that are supposed to be incredibly hard, like super nightmare mode.
where did these come from? I never heard anything about these until the dev stream. Did
Yeah.
they just announce them on the dev stream?
I don't know.
I think they did, yes.
Yeah.
Because I haven't
Because
heard
they were-
anything about them either.
Yeah, they were talking like everybody already knew about these things. They threw it up on the screen, and I'm like, why is there another icon in the navigation terminal?
But yeah, it's a good surprise. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
But you read some of these mission types, and it's level 50 to 60 mobile defense. Intel, enemy units have been upgraded with superior elemental damage resistance.
Well, it's
Well,
good.
okay, then.
That's for people like me and River that are complete end game and we don't have very much to do. I mean, they also said that the rewards for these are going to be outstanding. They're going to be totally worth it. So
Like a whole new drop table for special stuff. Like a whole
Well,
new.
There better be when one of the missions they showed was on Ceres, level 80 to 90, melee only. Intel, mechanical disruptors at this location are capable of jamming primary and secondary weapons. So it's a melee only level 80 to 90 mission.
Hell yeah.
It's interception.
yeah, that's these missions. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to that because there's so many times where I log in and I don't have anything to do other than help clannies out. So this just is going to add to stuff for like look at me and River right now where we're putting 100 forma. He's putting 100 forma on his Kubro, and I'm putting 100 forma on my carrier Prime just because we don't have anything else to do. We're just doing it for fun, just doing the 100 forma challenge. So this is at least will help our pocketbooks because the formas they take time to build and platinum to buy.
And
So.
I wonder if they're gonna have squad requirements like raids. Like you have to have a certain number of people to do that. I kind of am wishing they do stuff more with like you could either do it solo if you wanted to, or just with one other person. You don't have to have 4 people to do it.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's
'Cause
gals.
That's one of the reasons why I don't do as many raids as I should, because it's just a lot of work for what you get, and I've been running into a lot of glitches and game breaking bugs, making raids unfinishable lately. Even the Law of Retribution raid, I think we ran 4 last week, and we've only completed 1 because all the other ones bugged out.
Yeah, I saw your video on YouTube.
That was the worst one I've ever seen. It was so bad it was almost hilarious.
That's happened to me before as well. For anyone that's listening that doesn't know what we're talking about, during the raid, if you finish one phase and then going into the next phase, it just completely drops you off. Like, it takes half of the people and it puts them back in their Lissettes, and then the other 4 are able to continue on with the raid.
But it put Heel Pair on a blank Excalibur with no mods, no augments, no weapons, and then it made everybody in the squad named DE_Steve. So
Right.
and then I guess he crashed out. He restarted the game. It threw him back into the mission, but now he had everything available to him. Like, it was weird.
Yeah. So I mean,
And that was a nightmare alert too, or nightmare raid. That was very annoying.
I think my biggest thing coming out of these daily real hard mode, the sorties, is the fact that they can test new nightmare conditions.
Yeah,
And they
or
can
even
do it on a regular basis.
new mobs too. If they had a new mob they wanted, they could just scale it way the hell up and throw it in there as a test, and then drop it back for normal play later.
yeah. I don't know. I think that it's definitely needed, and I'll be glad to see it when it arrives. It's kind of like having 3 tack alerts a day, basically.
Mhm.
So, but as long as they like you were saying earlier, as long as they make it so it scales, so because I want to be able to do this stuff. I like playing solo from time to time. As much as I like playing with the clan, I like going out and doing stealth missions by
Mhm.
myself.
I still
So-
do my very often solo Tower Force survivals, and I very, very much wish I could have done the raid solo, because I would definitely be doing that all day to see if I could ever finish it.
Yeah, and I'd be doing it just to get them freaking brack parts because I'm still missing the receiver.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to see it.
I just like having stuff that's so difficult that it doesn't seem possible, but is just like it doesn't seem possible, but you know it has to be, so you just keep working on it, and then just the feeling that you get when you actually do it is
Right.
probably one of the best things in gaming, and it sucks because a lot of games don't have that anymore. Like, I want something that's so goddamn difficult that it's like mind numbing, and like it takes you forever to figure out how to do, and the reward for that would be freaking amazing.
Kind of like the when they had that attack alert with the behemoth when
Mm-hmm.
how it was like I think it was like 3-4 different steps and everybody thought that you had to go fight the behemoth with melee only. So
Oh yeah. The first time.
yeah, before we realized
Mhm.
that you could actually use your weapons, because the rest of the missions beforehand were melee only.
Yeah.
I remember I went in there and we spent an hour with our melee weapons killing the behemoth. That was
and then
pretty tough. But it
and
was
then
fun.
even from going from that to, okay, now you could use weapons, and then figuring out a 4-man squad that could do it effectively, and then taking it even further and going, okay, now how quick can we do it? Let's set goals to see how quick we can do it, and then going in, and then I think we eventually got it down to a sub 3-second run solo. Basically, the entire Juggernaut fight from initiation to kill was like less than 3 seconds.
Right. The only reason
So-
I don't think that is going to be feasible with these new sortie alerts, because I think once you complete the mission, it's just like any
Mhm.
other mission.
It's gonna-
complete
yeah.
it, it's going to disappear.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a one-shot deal. I mean, it's 3 missions a day, from server reset to server reset. So I mean, unless you're helping other
Mhm.
clannies out,
Yeah.
helping them run it, you can
But,
only do it once.
Hooray for more difficulty. I still 100% back Manic Nullifiers. Why the hell not? Let's screw the game up even more.
Manic nullifiers.
Manic Nullifiers.
Yeah, we've had a discussion on this before, haven't we, River? The forum shot us down quite quickly for
Oh,
that.
God,
I don't understand why.
I got burned at the stake multiple times with that discussion. I don't know. I think it would be really, really fun. Makes you have to really think about what you're doing and think on your toes, because all of a sudden there's a bubble around you and you gotta act quickly. Tell you what though, it'll definitely prevent camping. and Draco. Like if you had those things on Draco and they just teleport on top of you, all of a sudden now you have to move.
Well, in the Nightmare raid, they have them little
Yeah,
them little drones that nullify.
yeah, and they spawn on you anyway. So
Yeah, and those are a pain in the ass. So they can just throw those in Draco and be done with that. Whatever you're, instead of having the Mannix in there.
more difficulty. It's
Hmm.
always a good thing.
I don't know, always, but
And then, yeah. Speaking of adding more stuff, dojo, and they're going to be looking at the dojo and its usefulness. Maybe adding a couple new rooms, like a Kubra room. I would like to see an orbiter room, so you could access your Lisette stuff in the dojo, like your.
kind of like what they have in the relays. Where you
Oh,
go to
I
the
mean, like,
navigation.
well,
Check
like
the
that.
buttons.
Like, it would be cool to see the navigation actually in, like, what the observatory.
Right.
I would like to see that room being used as a navigation to launch missions from. I would also like to see an arsenal where you can link into your arsenal at the dojo. So if you're, I don't know, dueling, like we have all of our, like we had our recently Grandmaster series, and you have to jump back and forth between the dojo and your set to change a build if you needed to.
Right, because at the same time, every time
Yeah.
you finish the dojo or a duel, before ready to go on the next one, you have to leave because you don't have ammo. Once you use all
Yeah.
your ammo in a duel, you don't get it back
Yeah.
until
So
you die.
arsenal would be awesome to have
Yeah.
in there. Just more use. So I know we
Yeah,
got our
dojos
landing
are-
crafts, but I would love to see if you're in a clan, or if you're not in a clan, your home base or what your landing craft is now would be the relay, the Mercury relays, and you launch all your missions from there and you access everything from there. So it's like your home base. And then if you're in a clan, your home base is your clan dojo, and then your Lisette is just for, since now we have air support in missions, but your home base would be on the dojo, because right now, I mean, it's other than the labs and trading, it has zero purpose. Like
Yeah.
I would love to see everything launch in and out of that, and just so everybody's seeing each other all the time. We're not secluded in our Lisettes away from each other all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that maybe if they made the, like, you had the choice between going when you finish up a mission, either going into the dojo or going into your Lisette, I think that it would be better if you could access all your stuff from that's in your Lisette from the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
Just like right now, dojos are irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even if they just added a room, like they have the landing dock on the relay, if they had a landing dock on the dojo where you can go into that room and access your Lisette just from that room,
without
then
zoning out.
yeah, without zoning out, perfect.
Right.
That would work.
Yeah.
And it would be a really cool mechanic to see instead of you just spawning into the dojo like we do with the relays. Yeah.
It would bring more social aspects to the game. Like when the relays first came out, that's they were just social hubs. That's it. I mean, they didn't have, you couldn't access your navigation terminal, and like even the syndicate stuff, you could still do all that stuff from your Lisette. So, but right now, with other than the research labs and dueling, like people in trading, they don't really have a huge reason to go to the dojo. And
it's a shame because we've spent so much work on ours.
yeah, we spent a lot
Way-
of time in our dojo.
Way too many hours.
But at the same time, I think that they need to. I think that DE needs to host dojos. I don't think that it should be
server-side.
player hosted.
Yeah.
So
It would be weird because then you might get stuff like lag if we wanted to do duels. Like if we did our Grandmaster series and we had 50 people in there. You imagine the lag
yeah.
for the dueling. That would kind of suck if it was server hosted. I don't know,
gonna
you'd
be
have to
ups
figure
and
out a way.
downs to it. Yeah, I mean, there's benefits and I mean, it's. I guess it all depends on how much people are using their dojos. But I personally, I'd like to see DE hosting them. I mean, because you can fit. How many people fit into the relays now?
It's around 100,
maybe.
couple hundred. Yeah.
So
I've seen it. I mean, you go in there when Baro is there, and it's just packed.
Right. So I mean, they're capable of hosting the dojos. So I think that should happen. But in order for them to do that, the dojos have to be more useful. There has to be more reasons for people to go to the dojo. So I mean, and this is something that they kind of just mentioned in passing. It's not something that they're looking at right now, and it's not something that's going to be released in U18. So it's going to be, it's probably going to be another 3-4 months before we see any changes to our dojos.
Yeah.
And I don't know that necessarily that it's like a complete rework. And Steve said nonchalantly, like somebody asked about a Kuro room in the dojo, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." That's that kind of like. I think he was just saying that that's something that he would like to see, and that's something that he would be willing to put in there.
Yeah.
But it's not something that they've been working on.
I think personally, update 18 comes before that.
Certainly.
Yep.
And I think one thing we'll see before then are the items we're getting from the Steam Workshop.
Yeah, the items that I know that they showed off a couple things on the dev stream from the Steam Workshop. Are those items are going to be in the U18 update, or are they going to be in the game before then?
I think those are just going to be implemented whenever they're ready. I don't think they were designed to be part of any like major update, because they still had some of the models that won they're having issues like converting over to actual in-game like stuff.
Well,
like they're just not working right.
The reason that they're not going to do the Sayandana the way it was put in Steam Workshop is because it has too many prime elements.
Well, and there, yeah,
gold or whatever.
There's another one that wasn't moving correctly because it was a static mesh before, and it like screwed it up, so they have to redo another Sindana. But that mag skin though, I really want that mag skin, and it better be animated because it looks like it should be animated.
It looks good.
It looks very good.
I don't use mag enough to go out and get it, but as I've stated before, I'm a cosmetic horse, and if it's available, I'll probably get it. All I gotta do is just put like limited time on it, and that makes me run for it. That makes me want it. If it says limited, then I want it.
Just to kill your enthusiasm slightly, aren't all the Steam Workshop things going to be through Steam rather than through in-game?
Yep. It's all because it's the Steam Workshop. It's all like it's no plat. It's basically like Dota or Team Fortress 2 stuff. It's
like
Counter-Strike.
Rubido.
And then
Yep.
Okay, because I got the phase phase sign.
It's gonna be the same as those. Yep.
Okay, all right. Well, that'd be cool. I mean, those are really cheap. All the stuff that I think I got a Sayandana and I got like a Rhino skin for 32 cents.
Yeah, it just depends on how expensive it is, but it's going to be that type of payment system. It's not like in-game.
You use your Steam wallet to get it. I get it.
I can imagine them being a couple of bucks is what I'd expect them to be. And 30% of that goes to the creator, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that's a nice little nod.
Yeah.
So, moving on slightly, I think we're moving on to patch notes. We'll gloss over this pretty quickly because there wasn't too much in the patches, really.
Before we do the patch notes, there's one last thing in the dev stream that we probably should mention is that cinematic teaser that they gave us, showing the stalker for 5 seconds. You get a teaser of the stalker walking up. So
interacting with sentient. Oh, it looked like it's sentient.
I don't know. Did you see a sentient in the background?
Mm-hmm. He looked at it right before it cut out.
And then his arm.
Warning! Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, and then. Fucking Steve Soon icon at the end.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of threads. I kind of avoided them as much as possible. Sort of broke it down frame by frame, and you can see apparently 3 or 4 different sentients throughout the entire 5-second clip.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple different things with it. I don't think we'll go into it too much because there's a lot of spoilers with that. Like seriously. Especially if people haven't done the Nata quest, like turn it off like now. Like go do that first and then look at Second Dream because Second Dreams is a sequel.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm trying to touch at, what I'm trying to get across is what our assumptions are. Like, we see what everybody else saw, so I'm just wondering what your guys' thoughts on it. Like me, when I saw the poster or the background that they did, for me, seeing that Skana going through Excalibur's shoulder and then that smoke or whatever pouring from him, I think that kind of confirms that the Tenno are like an energy based life form. I think that was the Warframe with a Skana cutting it almost in half. Like,
yeah. Well, spoilers to listeners. I'm gonna go into a little bit what I did with my post, like when the Nada quest came out. If we go back into the Orokin archives, the Orokin basically detached their minds from their bodies and became kind of like almost, I don't want to say AI, but they weren't really like physical beings anymore per se. They were more of a network.
Who?
Orokin.
Oh, Orokin, yeah.
So, and then I guess because they were fighting against the Sentients in the Old War and they were losing, they wrapped those original Prime suits around people that returned from the battlefield. And you can see that by going into Excalibur's and Ember's codex entries, and you can see their stories of why they got the frames that they got. So yeah, I mean, my theory on it was that, I mean, the original suits, the original primes were probably some sort of suit around a original being, or was a capsule to hold that mind AI base for an Orkin unit, I guess. And then obviously the regular Warframes are mass production versions of those primes.
Right.
So that would describe, if you do cut open a Warframe, that the inside it's not hollow. It's something different inside because it's not a suit per se. I guess it's considered a suit, but it's not like a suit like what we would wear.
Suit.
Yeah, it would be like an android type thing that you would link into.
Right. Which would explain why they can change sexes on the fly and change from suit to suit.
Yeah. So going to that stalker thing that we got, what it looked like to me was, so far what I've seen is, if we go back to the stalker entries, he claims that he was one of the Tenno that was fighting for the Orkin on the Orkin's behalf, and he witnessed the returned prime frames come back that have, quotes, won the war and slaughter the rest of the Orokin that were there. And then that's why he is basically coming after the Tenno to get his revenge, because he knows that they're being praised for something that they didn't do. So they're all up on their high horse, and he's like, well, wait a second. He knows that they are the ones that basically turned on their own race and killed everybody off, and they're getting praised for it, basically, because nobody knows what actually happened.
Right.
So the second Dreams quest, it kind of seems like, with that clip, what I've gathered is, or what I think is happening, that Stalker found his way into the tomb where the sentients were kept, presumably by Lotus sending them there.
Oh, maybe he releases the sentients?
So going back to what I was thinking about before with the Nada quest, is really quick timeline. The old war between Orokin and sentients, Orokin are losing. Orokin go to the Void and make the Warframes to fight against the sentients because they're using older equipment that can't be used against them. Lotus somewhere in there jumps into that mix and either bribes or brainwashes the Prime Tenno that were there to fight on her behalf, because she also had control over the sentients, because according to the Nada quest, her father was locked in the tomb with the sentients. So then she ordered them to go back and kill the Orokin and then put the sentients in a tomb and wait, so that she has control over both the most powerful sentient army and the only thing that can beat that sentient army till the right time. And then all of a sudden now she has control over the entire universe, because literally nothing can stop her. She has both sides of that force.
Until the Stalker steps in.
Until the Stalker goes in to stop it. So
right.
So yeah, in before, Stalker is the only good guy in Warframe.
Yep. All right.
So that's my overall theory on it. So he breaks that second dream is his background, what he saw, and why he's doing what he's doing, and him breaking into the tomb to basically get the sentients to either kill the sentients to get them out of the way, or do something with it to finish the job that he originally started.
So the Stalker, actually, we've been fighting him this whole time. We're just Lotus's puppets, and the Stalker is actually a good guy.
Well, in the Nada quest, Lotus claims herself as a mother, and the mother of the Tenno, and she takes care of the Tenno and saving them and protecting them. Well, and for what kind of a thing? She's using us to do all these different things, but all of a sudden these sentients come into picture, and she has a apparent father that was one of the leaders of the sentient, or appears to be one of the leaders of the sentient army.
Well,
So-
we'll see how close you are when U18 hits,
Yeah.
and we all get to play that second Dreams quest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put up in our lobby that it's gonna be a spoiler free, because
Yeah.
I don't want our experience being ruined by any,
Mhm.
everybody that's getting blown away by this. But it's I've been playing this game for a while now, and it's always that mystery has just been kind of lingering over us. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be strange to actually have some closure to that, with U18.
Yeah. And
So
who knows, it might close one story and open up a whole nother shitstorm.
Very true. Yeah.
So we have no idea.
One thing I will say, though, is the fact that we have scripted, 3D animated and rigged cutscenes means that U18 should be reasonably close.
Yep. And they recently showed off their new mocap stuff, so they've probably been using that for a while, because I wouldn't assume that they would set that up immediately, say, hey, look what we got. We're going to start using it now after.
Right.
So,
So
Alright.
onwards to them patch notes that I mentioned about 10 minutes ago.
hey, I'm extending it because this last week sucked.
That's fine. Yeah. We've literally only got about 4 things, haven't we? And we've discussed one
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
So,
we already talked
quickly-
about the Mios.
Yeah, quickly blitzing through these. Mios was added. There was a decline all option for incoming friends requests.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's all these patch notes are kind of they just are. There's nothing real exciting about it.
The bug fixes, and when I see this sort of pattern, I immediately assume all the new content creators have been moved on to, for example, update 18. So we're seeing the back end of the development cycle, the bug fixing and the stability testing before the new patch comes in, which is where. So the Digara's calculated shot preset now targets sensor bar and arc traps. Nice for more utility, I suppose.
Hooray.
Yeah, I don't use it anyway, so.
No, neither do I. But and I think the biggest thing to come out of the patches was Steam controller support.
You.
I don't use a controller. I have keyboard and mouse. I'm PC master race.
As someone who's gotten to use the controller, my friend has one. Not to offend anybody, but that controller's crap. It's so bad. It's so awkward and it's so unresponsive.
My son uses a controller, and I have no problems with anybody that uses a controller, but it's just personal preference. For me, I like having the control of a keyboard and mouse, and this is probably an argument that PC versus console players have been having for such a long time.
Oh well, I actually like the controllers for certain things. They're really, really good at certain things. They're very, very bad at other things. So
For people
they have
that
their
use
uses.
the controller, it has support for a Steam controller. Good for them,
Yeah. Before we start that discussion, we'll end it. And I think the only thing I'll say is I use a controller when I'm playing on my laptop. And the more options we have, because that's what PC is about, on PC, I think the better. So,
Hell, we have a guy in our clan that uses a joystick and a mouse.
Yeah, Metal Seed.
Yeah.
He uses an actual flight joystick, something that you would use flying like a flight simulator. That's
Yeah,
what he uses, and he's
and
good with it too.
The way he describes using it actually seemed. I might get my joystick out and give it a try, because he described it as piloting a mech. So your mouse is on your right hand doing the aiming and stuff. Your shoot button is on the trigger of the joystick in your left hand, and your movement of the joystick is your movement in the game. So forward, backward, strafing, that kind of thing. So it's not like piloting like heavy machinery, like an excavator or a mech suit. Basically, is the way he described it, and it seems freaking awesome. At least for this game.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to get it out and keep buying the crap out of it and try it, because it sounds freaking amazing.
I'm
Right,
happy
so-
with my keyboard and mouse.
Moving on. Moving swiftly on to what I think we've all been waiting to discuss, and that's the well, we'll start with the sniper changes first, coming up in update 18.
I don't use sniper rifles, so I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I know you use sniper rifles a little bit more, Bob.
Yeah, I like the different levels of zoom, and initially the other big bug was the interface with them. That stupid pop-up thing, and they've mentioned this in the dev stream.
It's a
The fact that-
PNG image on.
I don't even think it was PNG. I think it was JPEG. It was JPEG image. Let's not give it credit where it's, and it's just it was just terrible. And like
And if you're on a weird resolution, like I know, because I run on a TV monitor, I can't run in full 1080 or like the edges get cut off, so I'm at 1650 by 1680 by 1050. The Vectis scope overlay, the actual center point where your reticle is at like the 5 o'clock position on that center dot. So it's on the 5 o'clock edge, like the bottom right hand edge. It's not in the center. Just because I'm on a different aspect ratio and it didn't scale properly. So on the Vectis, it's a little weird.
So I think the biggest thing, the nice thing I think that's coming is the fact that when you combo shots, you're going to get bonuses. In the dev stream, they had 3 consecutive hits give a 50% damage, I think it was, and a different crit chance on each zoom level.
Yeah, so the more you were zoomed in, the higher crit chance you would get, which I kind of like. It depends on how they use it too, because if you put it on something like the Vectis, which already has a pretty high crit chance, and then that's an additive crit chance if you zoom in more, then I'm all for it. But if it's replacing it, that I don't know how that would work. Like, I don't know how I would like it.
I assume it'll be additive, but things like the damage boost and the reload rate, I think, would be quite nice.
I'm gonna wonder. Another thing that I noticed that when she was demoing it, when you go into aim glide, or to actually just get out of the scope altogether, you have to cycle through all the way, like Counter-Strike style. You have to go through all the zooms and then it goes out. I wonder if the weapon swap would get rid of that, similar to what you do in Counter-Strike when you want to descope really quickly. You just hit your swap weapons really quick to come out of it. Because like in aim glide, if you want to come out of aim glide and you're in a sniper scope and you have to click it 3 times, it's gonna get very annoying very quickly.
You're going to fall off the map or down
Yep.
plenty of holes.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's long overdue, I think. But again, a bit like what we're going to talk about, depending on how they do it, depends entirely on how successful it'll be.
Yeah, I do know that if you have to click multiple times for the zoom levels, I'm automatically binding that to scroll up on my scroll wheel, so I can control it just by scrolling up on the
wonder
wheel
if
to
you
do
could
it quickly.
quickly cancel that.
Maybe.
It'd be interesting to see, and things like if zooming in keeps it at that same level that you had it previously. That'll be interesting.
I like the 3 consecutive hits. That's a good chance with the 50% extra damage on your third hit.
Buffs like that, I think, would be quite a nice idea. Maybe not 50% damage, because 50% damage on something like 4 or 5k is quite a lot.
Yep.
But certainly, and they said about it stacking, and you get 50%, and then if you get 6 shots, you get maybe a 50% reload rate.
And how does that work with punch through? Like if you have the Linka with a metal auger on and it hits 6 enemies, does it hit the 50% twice and now you have 100% on your next shot after one shot?
I'm not entirely sure, but I will. That's one of the things I think you've got to watch very carefully, because something like the Lanka's got, like, with metal auger, is like 3 meters of punch through.
Yeah.
So that could get a little ridiculous. So on to the big thing recently, the Saren changes.
I know Awesome has some stuff to say about this, but when I was first trying it out, I was excited for the change because I never played her the nuking style anyway. I always built her like tank, and this was an emotional roller coaster, man. It was like, oh, this is really good, and then I dug deeper and I tested it some more, and I was like, oh, maybe it's not so great. And then I kept
on the opposite side of
Yeah.
your emotional roller coaster.
I kept going back and forth, and the other trainer in our in AOD, Stoybot, he was doing a lot of stuff with me on it, and I mean, it kept going back and forth. Our decision for is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? It back and forth. Sometimes it was like, oh, this is like it's like the worst thing ever, and then you would get into mission, and sometimes it was just destroy everything, and then you try something else, and it would just wreck the entire experience, and then it was just back and forth. But I think if Stoybot got his numbers right, I'm pretty sure he did. Overall, in terms of total DPS, it's a very big nerf. I think it was something like 61,000 DPS before, and hovering around 6 to 8,000 DPS now. But you could spam your miasma before, and it would get all like 8,000 damage off in less than a second. So you could just hit it over and over again. But now it opens up to a lot more immersive and in-depth playstyle, where you have a lot more options because you could use every ability now. So it's a trade-off.
Just before you go off, Awesome, what's quite interesting actually is when it came out, the first time I played her was actually when I was recording the video for the previous podcast. So I had a mission when this build isn't going to work, and then I went, and what my second and third play with her are actually the previous video for the previous podcast. And I think what I came down to is I actually quite like the changes, because I'm no longer just pressing 4. I am using, well, I wasn't using all of the abilities because I hadn't read what they actually did, which was a big mistake. Like the fact that if you cast Molt and then put Spore on Molt, when Molt explodes, it spreads it everywhere. Well, I didn't realise that. But I ended up meleeing quite a lot and using Spore and number 3 to have Spore and then have Spore spread and have lots of damage everywhere all of the time. And I kind of put it into perfect situation because I was solo on 30-minute infested is what I got it to in the end. And I actually really enjoyed it. I haven't played her since, but I did enjoy playing with her.
Yeah. I haven't seen Awesome's build yet, but you were talking about like the different ways to play her.
Yeah,
and
see,
it's
from my end, from my experience on this whole thing, when, like River was saying, it's been an emotional roller coaster. I know I've stated before that Loki is my favorite frame, but Saren is, she's a tie with Loki. Those two are my favorite frames. So Loki and Saren are pretty much what I always play. And when they did the rework, before I had the time to play it, I logged in and I went into a mission with Saren, and I used her number 4 and nothing happened, and I was so angry. It felt like they took my favorite Warframe out of the game. That's what it seemed like at first. And I was, I bitched and complained the entire time I was playing her, but I stuck with it, and I keep played her, and I haven't looked at anybody else's builds. I've just, tried to, iron her out and get her to play the way, what my play style is. And from then until now, I've found a really fun play style with her. And I think that, I don't think that she'll ever equal what she used to be as far as her being a nuke frame, but she's still my number 2 favorite frame, close to number 1, just because, numbers aside, I mean, she is a fun frame to play regardless how much damage she does. But with the numbers, she does do a lot of damage if you play her right, if you mod her right. The spores being, I love that the way the spores spread the way they do now. And before this Saren rework, I always thought that her first 3 abilities were completely useless. And I ran around and I nuked everything. And now that was a very lazy way to play the game, and it gets boring fast, But now you actually have to play her in a style that is very entertaining. You have to think about what you're doing, and from a Saren fan's point of view, I see what Scott tried to accomplish here, and I think that he did a good job. I will forever miss the way Saren, the way that she used to be, but with accepting the way that she is now, I do still enjoy her, and I think that it was an excellent rework because
she's like that really kind of finicky girlfriend. It's a really big balancing act, but once you kind of got it figured out, it's okay.
Well, she's taken a huge hit with the health. Like, they took away like 300 health, and they gave her 100 more armor. And even with that 100 more armor, she is very fragile now. And you have to, like, regenerative molt is a must on Saren. I don't know about what your build. I haven't looked at anybody else's build.
Yeah,
but
I've replaced Overextended with Regenerative Molt, and it's helped out a lot.
yeah, I use regenerative molt a lot. Her number one, the spores, is definitely the most used ability. Then I use number two quite a bit. I don't melee very much with her, so I don't use 3 all that much. And number 4, I use very rarely.
It's like it's that oh shit moment.
Exactly, that's my oh shit button. If I get into a jam where I gotta get out quickly, if I have enough time, I'll pop my molt, and then I'll, while my health is recharging, I'll throw a spore on my molt, and then hit my number 4. And
Yeah.
I mean that. It does do the damage that it used to. I mean, it might slightly be different, but the difference is now that it scales up a lot higher. Where before with Saren, if I wanted to go in the simulacrum and break out 100 level of 100 enemies or 90, whatever they give you, it would probably take about 4 or 5 of them freaking number 4s to kill that enemy. But now with my build, I can go in there, and because it does the damage in the ticks, I can throw a spore on them. As long as I get my viral procs or whatever, if I get the spores on them, cast it on my molt or whatever, and I can usually take them out with probably two number 4s.
Yeah, it has a lot more chaining capability.
Just taking a step back, what I think you described there, Awesome, is what they were setting out to achieve by them. Because she used to be the one-trick pony, but now she's very much more of a balanced frame. She synergizes very well.
Yes, certainly.
And it's not something like you said, the older players who know her as a nuke, is similar to the Mesa effect, where Mesa is just used for a number 4 and then just killing everything. Well, now that they've changed it, new players coming in don't have that and they don't see it. And I think it's a good change because new players will enjoy the frames far more than we did when we first picked them up.
I agree. I think that, I think, like I was saying before, I think Scott accomplished what he was trying to do. He made Saren fun to play. And when I go into a mission now with Saren, like before, it would be, with people that were trying to level shit, nobody wanted to group with a Saren because she killed everything, and it was like, you go into a defense mission with Saren and you see a Saren there when you're trying to level something, or you want to play the game, she just runs around and nukes everything, kills everything, and it's
That's
no
the
fun.
There's the same thing with Mesa.
Yeah, it's no fun to watch somebody else play. So he took away that. Scott took that ability away, and now if I see a Saren in a group, I'm not angry because I know that I'll be able to kill some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's genuine utility there with the viral procs, the half health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a very, very good. I mean, she still can nuke. Going back to like builds and stuff, the build that I currently have on her, after hours and hours of tweaking and testing and tweaking and testing again, the build that I got her on her, she could be used as, I can use her as a full melee. Like, I don't have to really worry too much because of regenerative molts. I can kind of go in there and go ham a little bit. I can still use her as a nuke, though it's going to tank my energy. So it's good to have like something to regen that. But yeah, most of the time it's that massive, like what I call my plague build for Saren. It's just you send one spore out and it just goes. And you just see every enemy on the map have one of these spores on it.
Yeah, I really love that the way the spores spread now.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been like that since day one, since they came out with Saren.
Yeah, so she's in that really good spot where it is a bit of a balancing act in terms of how you're going to get your percentages for your duration, your power strength, and your efficiency and everything, and you do have to sacrifice at least one of those a little bit. But once you find it and get it in that spot that you like and that you're comfortable with, she really opens up, no pun intended, orchid skin, but she really opens up and becomes a whole brand new Warframe.
I think that she's going to fall in line with, how Loki, a lot of people don't like Loki because they don't know how to play him.
Mm-hmm.
And Saren's going to fall in line with that play style where a lot of people aren't going to like her because they don't know how to play her.
It's that same thing that Limbo's in too. If you know how to play him, he's very, very, very good, and he's a lot of fun to play, but he's difficult to understand.
And the same with Banshee. There were a lot of frames like that.
Yep.
Although I was surprised to see actually on AOD forums that in the recent Your Favourite Most Fun Warframes, Banshee was mentioned quite a lot.
Mhm.
So I think people are starting to come around to the fact that she is quite a versatile frame. But anyway, that skin, we've mentioned it a couple of times. Do you guys like it?
Oh man, the Orphan skin? For
Yeah.
Sarah? I love it.
Yeah. I barely even changed the colors on it. I thought the colors were dead on. All I did was I switched the purple out for the purple that I use on all my energy colors, which is that like iridescent, like pearl, metallic pearl color purple, and then I got a really bright ass blue, almost like a teal for the energy color. And I swear she looks like a plant out of Avatar. She's fucking day glow, super bright. It's awesome.
I got the whole package with the dual Zoran skins and the Sugatra. All of them together, the whole deluxe package. It's it was good timing for them to come out with the deluxe skin for Saren when they did the rework on her, because she really does feel like an entire frame, and now she looks like an entirely new frame. So
like even in mission, when I see a Saren not with the deluxe skin and I see the old one, half the time I still expect that huge nuke to come out of it. Like I'm so not used to seeing the new way the abilities work with the old skin, because it fits so perfectly with that new skin now.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I'll agree. I haven't messed with the colours too much because I've moved away from Sarah and just sort of as playing her. But in my old colour scheme, which is sort of whites and dark greens, almost blacks, it looks really quite nice.
And if you're in New Loka and you have the New Loka Sandana, it fits perfectly with that orchid skin. Like it's almost like they designed it around that thing. But I'll throw a picture in there of what my Saren looks like on the forum, so you can see the similarities or something. So it's a really, really nice color scheme. I've seen her in. I also made a Fire Flower build, which I think Awesome has something similar to it, but it's yellows and reds and oranges, and she looks like I don't know, it's like more like a fire-based type of frame.
Yeah, I love it. I'm still a Saren fan, even with the changes. I definitely think that she's not done, like they stated on the dev stream, that they're going to sit back and they're going to let it marinate for a little while and then see what changes need to be done. Right now,
I think it's a good move.
She is definitely an energy hog, and more than she needs to be. Maybe decrease the cost of some of her abilities. That might help. But I think that overall, her abilities are right. Everything is good. It just she needs little tweaks.
I would even say, because they already did one little tweak, whereas if you cast spores on the molt, the spores cost half the original cost.
Right.
So there's a little bit there.
They cost nothing to cast anyway.
Yeah. I would like to see something like that, and like what they did with Atlas and his landslide. I would like to see how it would be if then your molt or your miasma was the same way. Like it costed less if you chained it with a spore or a molt. Like if you had molt out and you hit miasma you hit molt with the miasma, if the miasma cost less, I think that would help out as well, because then you can still nuke her a little bit more and not drain your entire energy pool doing it.
Yeah.
Because I noticed when it was kind of funny, because I got blinded by that primed flow, because I'm so used to having it now, and I'm like, dang, she uses a lot of energy. And then I go into my build and I was like, I have a primed flow on her, and I'm still draining half my energy pool with a molt spore miasma combo. Just hitting those 3 buttons, I drain half my energy pool. And then I was like, how? It must suck if you're running her with only a regular flow, because that's ridiculous.
She's got, in my build, she's got about 450 to 470 energy. I'm just watching my video from last week. And yeah, you run through energy quite a lot. But as I was running a melee build, I was running the Life Strike Rage combo. So I tended to always have energy kicking around from that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting at 563. I still got 2 more ranks on my primed flow to go. But 563, that combo with 75% efficiency, which is what I got on mine right now, those 3 buttons, it's like 300 energy. That's a lot. So, yeah, primed flow, if you could get your hands on it, I would 100% recommend it.
I got an extra one. If somebody wants to buy it, just hit me up. It's AOD_awesome.
But yeah, I mean, just that alone, if you're like still not convinced that Saren is good and you don't have a primed flow, that mod will make all the difference. Like, seriously. If I'm careful and I'm thinking about what I'm doing and I'm not just blindly nuking stuff, if I'm paying attention to the timers and where my spores are disappearing and how far they're spreading, and if I be careful of where I place them so that they have the best chance of spreading to more enemies, I can run my build with only 75% efficiency without an EV Trinity, no problems. Like, I don't have any issues until I start hitting my asthma if I really need to. So it is doable. You just got to kind of plan out a little bit.
Yeah, she's good. As I'm watching this video back, and I'm 23 minutes into a survival, and I'm still happily killing level 50 enemies solo.
Yeah.
Well, I say happily. I've just died, but
me and Owl did a Ophelia, and we know Drekar enemies have a higher armor rating than regular Grineer. We went 40 minutes, and Saren was still doing very, very well 40 minutes in. So yeah, that viral proc on the spores definitely helps take stuff down.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But yeah, she still is very, very good. She's not going to be your instant nuke, but she's going to do the damage that you need her to do.
Yeah, less survivability. So you got to play her smart.
Yeah.
You can't just jump into a big crowd and nuke.
I would personally, one little change. I think I used to have 1200 health with her, with the old way that you built her. I would like to see that 925 changed at least to 1000. I think the 30 base health drop, which would be 300 max health, was a little bit too much. I think 200 would have been more reasonable. Just put her at a solid 1000 health with the vitality, and she'll be right in that range of like the sweet spot.
And I think that's about a good place to wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, thank you for joining us from me, British Bob, River Rat and Awesome. Hope you have a good couple of weeks, and hopefully we have update 18 to talk about next time. So, from all of us here, thank you.
Yeah,
see you later.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.